The next story we're going to take up is A Spark Neglected Burns the House, written by Count Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy. Before we move on, let us know a little bit about the author. Count Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy is usually referred as Leo Tolstoy in English. He was a great Russian writer who was regarded the greatest author of all time. He was born in an aristocratic Russian family and best known for the novel War and Peace. He converted from a privileged society author to a non-violent and spiritual anarchist. In 1908, Tolstoy wrote a letter to a Hindu, outlining his concept in non-violence as a way for the nationalists in India to gain freedom from the British colonial rule. The title of the story, A Spark Neglected Burns a House, suggests two literal meanings. One being, a small mistake ignored today might later turn into a great blunder. Secondly, it also suggests that we must nip the mistake right in the bud itself. That means we must put an end to the mistake before it gets a chance to grow or start. There once lived in a village a prosperous peasant named Ivan Skacherbekov. He was well off in the prime of his life. In the early days of his life, one of the best worker in the village and had three sons, all of whom were able to work. There was nothing which could prevent Ivan and his family from leading a happy life. They always had enough grains to last beyond the next harvest, that is, till the next year, and sold enough oats to pay their taxes and meet their needs. They had only one idle mouth to feed. Idle, the one who could not do anything. That of Ivan's father, who suffered from asthma and lay on top of an oven. Ivan and his children would have lived happily if there hadn't been a feud, a fight between him and his next door neighbor, Gabriel Ivanov. In the above lines, the author describes about a Russian farmer, Ivan, who lived with his family. He was a prosperous and happy farmer who had good crop every year. His aged father lay on the top of an oven. He would have led a happy life with his family if he had not got into a fight with his neighbor Gabriel. As long as Godfrey, Gabriel's father, was alive and Ivan's father was healthy enough to manage the household, both families lived as neighbors should. They lived as good neighbors. But when the sons became the head of their families, everything changed. All this started with a trifle, with a thing of least value. Ivan's daughter in law had a hen which started laying eggs quite early during the season. She started collecting them for Easter. Every day she went to the cart shed and found an egg on the cart. She was happy that she was going to have plenty of eggs before the Easter time. In these lines, Tolstoy describes that as long as the elderly men were the head of the families, both families lived in harmony as good neighbors. But as time passed, things changed. The families fought for things that were of hardly any value. But one day, the hen, probably frightened by the children, flew across into Gabriel's yard and laid its egg there. The woman heard the crackling, the sound made by the hen, but she thought, I have no time now. I must tidy up for Sunday. I will fetch the egg later on. She thought of collecting the egg later after cleaning the house. During the evening, she went to the cot, but no egg was found there. She went and asked Ivan and her brother in law Taras whether they had taken the egg. No, they had not. But Taras said, "Yeah, Billy laid its egg in the neighbor's yard. It was there she was crackling, and she flew back across the fence from there." In these lines, the author describes that one day Ivan's daughter in law did not find an egg in the cart shed. She went looking here and there, asking from everyone about it, but all in vain. Her brother in law Taras told her that he had heard the hen crackling in neighbor's yard, and maybe she flew back after laying an egg there. Then she went to Gabriel's house. Gabriel's mother came out to meet her. "What do you want, young woman?" "Granny, my hen flew across this morning. Did she lay an egg here?" "We never saw anything of it." "The Lord be thanked, our hen started laying long ago. We collect our own eggs and have no need of other people's. And we don't go looking for eggs in other people's yard, lass." The granny responded in an angry manner to the woman and refused of any egg being there in her yard. The young woman was offended. She was feeling bad the way the old woman had replied her and gave her a harsh reply. Here, her refers to the granny. Her neighbor answered in the same tone, and the women started abusing each other. They started saying bad words to each other. Other women of both the houses joined the quarrel, and there was a general uproar, and there was a lot of noise. All were shouting at the same time. Then they caught the yoke, split the water, snatched each other's shawls, and started fighting. Gabriel, who was returning from the fields, joined his wife. Ivan and his son rushed to join the women of the Skcherbekov family. Ivan was too strong, for he scattered all of them, pulling some hair out of Gabriel's beard. Their neighbors, who came to see what the matter was, separated them with great difficulty. This is how the quarrel began. Here the author describes about both the families who got into the fight. The verbal fight that started over an egg turned into a physical fight. The fight that started between the women of the house was soon joined in by the men as well. Gabriel wrapped the torn hair into a piece of paper and went to the district court to seek justice. "I did not grow my beard," he said, for the pockmarked Ivan to pull it out. Therefore, the dispute grew. The matter became even serious. The old man, that is Ivan's father, who lay on the top of the oven, tried to bring about reconciliation. He tried to bring peace between the two families, but they did not listen. He said, "It's a stupid thing you are after, children, picking quarrels about such a paltry matter, about such an insignificant matter. Just think, the whole thing began about an egg. The children may have taken it. Well, what matter? What's the value of one egg? God sends enough for all." But the members of the family ignored the advice of the old man. They thought that his words were mere senseless dotage. Ivan would not make himself before his neighbors. He would not submit before his neighbors. He also went to the court. They were tried by the Justice of Peace and District Court. As the court proceedings were taking place, the coupling pin of Gabriel's car went missing. The women folk of his house accused Ivan's son of stealing it. So they again went to law to resolve the matter. The author describes that the fight that started over a missing egg turned into a serious matter and was taken to the court. None of the families were ready to submit in front of each other. Though Ivan's father tried his best to make his children understand that no one will gain anything from this fight, but they did not listen to him. They took the matter to the district court and started blaming each other for the loss that they suffered. At home, not a day passed without a quarrel or a fight. The children too abused one another, having learnt it from elders. And when the women happened to meet by the riverside, where they went to rinse the clothes, their arms did not ring as much as their tongues nagged. That means they abused each other more than they worked by the riverside. Initially, in the beginning, the peasants insulted one another, but life became harder with every passing day. Ivan and Gabriel kept suing each other, calling each other lawfully, at the village assembly, district court, and before the justice of peace till the judges were fed up of them. All this went on for 6 years. Only the old man lying on the top of the oven kept telling them, "Children, what are you doing? Stop all this paying back. Keep to your work and don't bear the malice." But none paid heed to his advice, but no one listened to what he said. In the 7th year, at a wedding, Ivan's daughter-in-law insulted Gabriel, accusing him of horse stealing. She blamed him for stealing a horse. Gabriel was tipsy, he was slightly drunk, and unable to control his rage and unable to control his anger, gave the woman such a blow that she was bedridden for a week. She was pregnant at that time. Ivan was delighted and he went to the magistrate for lodging a complaint. "Now I will get rid of my neighbor. He won't escape imprisonment or exile to Siberia." But things did not go as he had expected. The magistrate dismissed the case. He did not take the case, as the woman showed no sign of injury on being examined. Ivan then went to the justice of the peace, but the case was referred to the district court. Ivan treated the clerk and the elder of the district court to a gallon of liquor. He bribed them. He gave them a gallon of liquor and had Gabriel condemned to be flogged and wanted Gabriel to be accused, to be brought behind the bars and be beaten. For 6 years, both the families visited the court, blaming each other for different things. In the 7th year, Ivan's daughter-in-law blamed Gabriel for stealing a horse. She roused his anger to such an extent that he hit her so hard that she was bedridden for a week. Ivan found this to be a good opportunity to put Gabriel into the court and sentence to be pronounced upon him. He even bribed the clerk and elder in the district court to get Gabriel beaten. We shall continue with the story in the next video and find what happens to Gabriel and how the matter is ultimately resolved.